This is Kurt Ryle, and you're listening to No Good Music.
I have a special guest with me today. He's a singer, songwriter, and it says here drummer. I did not know that. No, I did know that. Of the great band, the Gripweeds. This is his fourth appearance on No Good Music. And you know what that means? His next appearance, I'm going to have to get you a five-timer shirt or jacket. Do you watch Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
So welcome to No Good Music, Kurt Ryle. So I want to talk about the new EP, of course. January 31st, you released Early Clues. Now there's three, I say unique songs. I mean, three different, all three are different, of course. But in true Gripweeds fashion, tribute to like 60s, 70s music. We have Conquer and Divide. And this song I'm going to mention the three songs, and then you just tell me how this came about and anything about the three songs. So, but Conquer and Divide, it has sort of a swing to it. There's a couple incredible guitar solos in this. There's a short one, I think in the middle, and then at the end. Now, you know what? I listened to this. I probably listened to this 10 times. But I just listened to it before you came on, and I just noticed the beginning of the song reminds me of Cheap Trick, Southern Girls.
Okay.
I don't know if you know that song.
Actually, I don't, but I'm sure I've heard it.
Just
right now.
The beginning when you start the song. I'm serious. That's a compliment. Then we have Column of Air, and some really good lyrics in this one, and vocal and harmonies, just beautiful vocals on this song, harmonies. The chorus is rocking. Flowers for Cynthia. And I don't know why, but it reminded me of the Wonders, the
Own Eaters?
The Wonder, that thing you do.
Yeah, the Own Eaters.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So what can you tell me, anything about any of these songs and how the EP came about?
Well, we like them all.
Okay.
Start there.
Thank you, Kurt. It was good talking to you.
It was great. That's about all I have to say.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
okay.
No, well, should I go through each one? You want me to just talk about it?
Yeah, just tell me a little bit about,
Conquer and Divide.
We have time.
Conquer and Divide. I wrote that song, and I wrote it very quickly, maybe 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
It seemed like, boom, there it was.
Just came to you.
And even the lyrics, I had to kind of finish up the lyrics. That took a little more time, but the initial song was pretty much all there. And then it was kind of inspired by the recording of our last album, Dig, and kind of wanting to do kind of a garagey Nuggets type song. And I just thought of, just the place we were in for that record, and recording songs like Lie, Beg, Borrow, and Steal, which we did on that album. And I just wanted that energy, and I wound up writing something with that kind of a vibe. And so that's where that beat came from. I took it right from Lie, Beg, Borrow, and Steal. And, just made our own song with it. And
maybe Cheap Trick took that from that song.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cheap Trick, it's hard to say, because Cheap Trick is a definite influence, growing up with their music, and just that. I just remember at the time what the sound of Cheap Trick, especially on Budokan, the live album, that kind of just changed all music for me at that point. You know, like all of a sudden it was like, oh man, that's the way it should be. You know, and all that '70s thing was like, you know.
And they were having fun with it. You know,
they were just stripped down, and that was cool. You know, and so I mean, there's always, I think with the Gripweeds and with us, there's always an element of Cheap Trick in there, just because it's one of those primal influences for us, you know, deep in the DNA of the band, but along with the '60s garage, which we were really trying to accentuate on this song. Just rock it, you know, and you know, don't be soft about this one. I don't think there's too many harmonies on it. A little bit in the bridges. And the song was written around the time of the last election. And I don't really want to go political here, but you know, I will say, the only thing I will say about it is I was noticing, and maybe there's been a divide, a great divide in our culture for a long, long time. Maybe there has, you know, but I was just sort of noticing that it's very much us against them. And I was just like, remember the days when it was about us, all of us?
Yeah.
And, so the song was a little bit of a reference to that. And I don't want to really go into politics or anything, because I'm kind of sick of it all.
Yeah.
So I don't want to talk about it. The subject makes me sick. So, you know,
I try so hard not to post anything. And if I do, it doesn't name people, but people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
so I don't want to.
I'd rather post music, and I post what I'm listening to or what beer I'm having, you know, rather the fun stuff. I want us to, you know, kind of be a positive influence on the world, and that's kind of where we want to be. But you know, this song's got a rocking element to it, and a little bit of Yardbirds, especially at the beginning, or Zeppelin, maybe Zeppelin in the beginning. You know, but all that stuff is just, I don't know. It's not like we're going, we want to sound like this. It's kind of who we are, you know? Yeah. So it's what you've listened to and what you know, and like musically. I mean,
I think a musical, whenever you write, meaning anyone, it's the influences come out. If the song is pure, meaning it's just, maybe it's out of your imagination, or it just comes from your fingers when you're playing, you know, then the influences just come. It's not like, I want to write a song like, you know, Day Tripper. Da, 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 you know, you can do that. They call that sideways writing. And I try not to do that. You know, take a song and go, oh, let's make a song just like it, but we'll change the chords so no one will know. And, we don't really do that. We try to take the song as it is, and you know.
I think if you listen to enough music over time, not that everybody can write a song, even lyrically or musically, but it's ingrained in your mind what you've heard and what you know sounds good to you too.
Yeah,
you know?
That's it. Yeah,
that's what you bring into your music.
And feels good, you know, feels right, doesn't feel wrong, you know, and so that song was like that, and the arrangement for the you know, applying what we did on the Dig album to that song was just kind of afterwards, you know, kind of going, well, let's put it in that direction because it's already there, you know. And then the song like Column of Air, I really like that one.
I pulled out a lyric. Nothing's free as the world turns inside, looking out. I
Yeah.
just love that.
Thank you. Yeah. Well,
Not turns inside out, but inside and looking out. Yeah,
well, it's kind of what's the rest of the line? I can see. What is the rest of the lyric? I can
I don't
see.
know. I don't.
I can't remember it myself right now.
Okay.
Nothing's free as the world turns inside looking out. I mean, I was kind of thinking, um, well, that things are crazy, but
Hmm.
it's like look inward, or um, find your center, and I was actually I posted something on Facebook yesterday about this song, and I kind of crystallized why I or what I wrote it about, because sometimes when you're writing songs, the ideas are
Hmm.
just coming up, and it's almost like you're in a fever, and you're just writing it out, and all these influences are coming in and stuff, and you don't sometimes you just don't get a perspective on it until after it's done, or maybe even sometime after. You don't even know.
Hmm.
It's hard,
Yeah.
and it's a real good exercise to go back and say, how did I do that? How did that come about? And like that song, I was just playing my guitar one day.
Hmm.
The Epiphone Casino, it's a 67 Epiphone Casino that I've used throughout the 90s and stuff. It's the guitar I used on Love's Lost on You, the one I wrote it on. And it's just one of
Hmm.
those guitars for me that's magical. I know if
Yeah.
I'm going to play it and I get a sound, that something will come out,
Yeah.
and something usually does. So I wrote that one. Again, that was a quick song. Like the structure of it came really quick. And I had the phrase column of air.
Hmm.
And I got that phrase from um, Allen Ginsberg, this poet,
Hmm. Yeah.
beat poet.
Yeah. Yep.
And he was talking about Bob Dylan, and he said the guy was just so comfortable, and the music was flowing through him, and he's up there singing his songs, and it was as if he had become a column of air.
Uh-huh.
The whole thing, I was like, wow, okay,
Wow.
that's really, I love that. It's like
Yeah, because
you,
when I saw that song title, I thought that was very interesting. Just
yeah,
yeah.
it's like you've become so effortless that it's just coming out of you.
Hmm.
It's like breathing.
Yeah.
You're not forcing anything; it's just coming. So I wanted to write a song about like that zone. It's like getting into the zone
Hmm.
of, and the zone could be, yeah, as a person who likes an athlete in sports, when you hit that
Hmm.
zone, it's like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
there. Or you hit the tennis ball and you hit the sweet spot, or it's a relationship, with
Hmm.
someone where you're totally in love. But it's also that way with music when you hit this zone playing live, uh,
Hmm.
where time is not there anymore, and you're
Yeah.
just channeling.
You're
And
in
I
it.
wanted to I wanted
Yeah.
to write a song about that feeling,
Hmm.
and include music, but also include relationships. And like in one of the lines is, she said, "Why can't we just relax and take it slow, enjoy
Yeah.
the ride while we're here before we have to go?" So it's
Hmm.
kind of like, why can't we just enjoy the
Yeah.
moment,
Oh
And
yeah.
so the whole song is about the instant. It's about now, and
Yeah. Some people don't take time to sit back and they're
well,
just
everybody's,
go, go, go to,
yeah, yeah. It's like too much. They always say it's like too much past and too much future. You've got
Yeah.
regrets. Like, oh, I should have. Like, why didn't I? And
Hmm.
then you're rushing through the moment to get to this
Yeah.
abstract future
I
that
know.
doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah.
So you're completely using the present time, which is really all we have, as a corridor,
Hmm.
that you're just
Yeah.
like a hallway, rather
Yeah.
than you can stay there.
Hmm.
You can live there.
Yeah.
That's where you
I think
live.
some people don't feel comfortable just like where I'm at now in this room. I have my albums and this is my music room where
Yeah.
we record, but I like to come up here and have, two chairs here. I'd sit in a chair and put the music on, sometimes turn the lights off and just not do anything. I think some people aren't comfortable with not doing anything. And
Yeah.
I know people
You're right.
who don't have time to watch a movie or like, why don't, and they think it's a waste of time. I think it's the opposite sometimes. That
Yeah,
it's
I
part,
would agree with you.
and it's what makes you happy. Like music makes me happy. I'm sure it does you. You know, I know it does.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. That's why I
you
wrote the
know,
song.
yeah. And even watching a movie, I work from home now. I
Mm,
have, print shop. And so I'm my own boss. So Friday, I decided I wanted to go see the Led Zeppelin documentary.
that was
I
good.
tried to get someone else to go with me, but people work during the day, and it was at 11 o'clock in the morning on Friday. I was the only one in the theater.
You rented it out.
Yeah, yeah. And it was nice. I took it was over 2 hours long, and I felt good. I just felt good like seeing the documentary and
Yeah, it's a funny thing about movies. I mean, like it's weird being in an empty theater, but yet
yeah,
you're not really supposed to talk when you're watching a movie.
no.
But yet, I one time I saw A Hard Day's Night in
Uh-huh.
theater in New York City, the Forum or whatever it was in New York City, and I'd seen that movie many, many times, and it was like a special screening.
Hmm.
And seeing it with people, with everybody like cheering and laughing at the jokes, and
Yeah.
it took on a whole interesting kind of
Oh
vibe
yeah.
with
Yeah.
an audience, that you don't get by yourself. But movies are really like you can watch them alone, no problem,
Yeah.
or a documentary especially.
I would have liked to have like at least one friend with me so that
Yeah,
yeah.
it's nice to be able to say, "Oh, that's cool," look at that.
And especially doing the podcast, I want to talk about I'm going to talk about it myself, even with someone else's. But it would be nice if someone else saw it with me and could interject, because I don't
Yeah,
have any friends that have seen the movie yet. So.
well, I could well about that film. I mean, I saw Kristen and I saw the movie. My brother saw it too.
Okay.
And I think Dave saw it. I'm sure he did. But I took away from the movie. We're working on the last track right now for the album, and we're
Mm.
finishing up the final
Okay.
track for the record, and so that's been the backdrop. Like that, we went to the movies,
Hmm.
but we're
Okay.
listening to the rough mixes on the way
Yeah.
there and back, and going, oh, maybe we could do this. And after watching the Zeppelin movie,
Hmm.
maybe we can amp this up a little more. So like all these movies become like grist for the mill, or like
Hmm.
we use them. We use
Yeah.
them for sounding boards and ideas to
Yeah.
kind of
Oh
go,
yeah.
oh, maybe we'll try something like that. And that's what a good movie can do. It can spur you
Hmm.
into creativity
Yeah.
or another way of thinking. And that's what that film did for us. But back to Column of Air. Um, so I wrote the song, and finally got the lyrics together, but I started doing a demo before I got the lyrics together,
Hmm.
because it's like sometimes you need a push when you're trying to finish a song or an album, even, you know. So you just get started. And even
Hmm.
if you don't have the whole thing worked out, like I'll have the structure of the song, and I know I want this verse and that chorus, and I know I want a
Hmm.
bridge. So I'll just do a demo myself. Drums, bass, guitars. And if I have a vocal, sometimes it's nonsense. And I've done that recently
Uh-huh.
on this record. Not for the final, but for the demo,
Yeah. Yeah.
where I'm just making up words. And
Yeah.
and even
Just
that,
just to even get the harmonies or the way it's
well,
going
get
to
the
flow
meter, get the
too.
melody, get the meter,
Yeah. Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I mean, sometimes songwriters will tell you, singing a nonsense line makes you think of an actual word, or sometimes
Hmm.
words pop out, and
Yeah.
you'll kind of go, where'd that come from? And then you go, well, why did I sing Column of Air? And I mean,
Hmm.
I know why I sung Column of Air, and I had a reason to do that. And then I had to work backwards to get the lyrics. What does Column of Air mean? Oh, it's about being in the instant moment. Okay, and how do I write about that? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's what that song was like. It was kind of like I had the structure. I made a demo. I knew what I wanted it to sound like. Um, and the funny thing was, I started the song, and I realized it was too high to sing, so I had to
Uh-huh.
drop it down a couple of keys.
Yeah.
And I realized that as I was doing the demo, I'm like, oh, this is just no. I can't.
Hmm.
This is like, I mean, if you listen to that song now, it's
Hmm.
probably it's at the top of my range to sing.
The chorus, right?
When it gets to a combat, when it gets to the there's a modulation in it, and it goes even higher. And so I'm like, what am I doing? I gotta get this. It's high enough.
Yeah.
So I really worked my Brian Wilson thing,
and especially if you're going to sing it live, eventually.
Well, yeah. I can. It's all a technique that we all learned from Mark Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
How to sing. We kind of really dug into, how do we do this right before we lose our voices?
Yeah.
From singing wrong. And we learned how to sing properly, or I'll say not properly, because properly doesn't sound very rock and roll, but really a way that you can sing so that you can keep singing and
you got to know your limitations. And
but
I always think of like Axl Rose and Vince Neil, who
don't know their limitations.
Well, they're exaggerating the voice too.
Yeah.
It's not, because some people, they don't sound exactly like they sing, but it's not too far off sometimes.
Right.
But Axl, now he cannot sound like that.
Well, because it probably hurts his voice.
Yeah.
So I mean, you get older, and you can't sing the way you used to, or maybe you're hurting yourself. It's like Bon Jovi probably destroyed his vocal cords, and because he was pushing too hard and didn't know what he was doing. We were all harming ourselves. We don't realize it.
Well, I'm kind of happy I may not have to hear any new Bon Jovi songs, but that's just my personal.
Well, that's another thing. I think he's a great guy, actually.
That's another podcast.
I think he's a good person, but
no, I always say that too. I just don't. I never liked. I never liked his songs.
Well,
And living in New Jersey, I can't avoid. I go to the grocery store, and
there they are.
I have to throw in a Bon Jovi.
I'm a cowboy.
Living on a Prayer. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Well, that song.
It's not a bad song, but
I use that song sometimes as a vocal warm up.
Oh, okay.
Just for fun. Like I played it at campfires, and then just keep going up in the key. Okay. And just keep on going.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, that's high. How do you do that without killing yourself? And there is a way. But so that song, Column of Air, was a vocal workout, and I had to learn how to sing it. And but this isn't all about me. The Dave, Rick, and Kristen's contributions to that track are huge. They're these aren't just my songs. I mean, I bring them into the band, but then the band embraces them. And I mean, I would say it's hard for me to get the perspective, but maybe I'll ask you the question. When you hear these songs, are you like, oh, he wrote that one and he wrote that one, or are you taking them as band songs?
I'm taking them as band, and it's funny you're getting into what if we had time, I was going to ask you about your songwriting process, but that's great. I guess I didn't know that you played guitar, you played other instruments. And I even had a question. Have you sat down with a guitar and wrote some of the notes, the riffs, or?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. I wrote many of our riffs, and
I hear it as the band. Like I couldn't tell you who wrote it, or
Well, then we've done the trick, really.
Yeah.
And it's not really a trick, because everybody's putting themselves into the song, and we're presenting it as a band, and I just happen to sing most of the songs.
It's not like you're playing all the instruments, and then when you go out and play live, you got other. So no, I mean, it is the band playing. So
like what happened on this song in particular, on Column of Air, as I said before, I did this demo, and I have to be careful with demos now, because I do them here in the studio.
Yeah.
And I got to make them sound good for two reasons. One, that I want the band to like it so that they'll want to do the song. Yeah. But two, because sometimes my demo serves as the basis for the recording. Like we'll go, oh, well, you've already made the framework. Let's just overdub on this, and we'll rework what we need to. And so my what winds up happening is my bass part goes away. Dave plays.
Yeah.
My guitar part, maybe usually my rhythms kind of stay. Like I play acoustic and I did some electrics on Column of Air, but everything else went away because the other guys are better and they put their stamp on it. You know,
Now,
especially
Conquer and Divide, is that Rick that did he
that's
come
Rick.
up with that guitar
Yeah.
solo?
In fact, that was another song. Well, I did a demo for that, but I wanted to change. We wanted to change the demo, so we recorded that one fresh. That wasn't done the way Column of Air was done. So that was done a little bit more with a band vibe. And I think Rick and I played that together. Rick's all over that track. He did the lead guitar work and stuff. And Kristen did a little bit on that one, and she does the harmonies, and she plays a little bit on it, but not as much as others. Like Rick did a lot on that song.
Yeah.
And Column of Air, Rick did keyboards, and he didn't play guitar. So he did all of the keyboards on there. And if you hear a keyboard, it's Rick.
Yeah.
And Kristen did all the guitar leads, and which I think is tremendous work. Just great. She'll be like, what happens a lot is I'll be working down here, and especially lately, because we're trying to finish this album, which we pretty much have. But I'll be down here, I'll be mixing, or maybe I'll doing a session with somebody else. And she's upstairs working on the guitar parts. So she's familiarizing herself with the song, coming up with her riffs. And then she'll go, okay, I'm ready. Come down. And okay, well, what do you have? You know, so she'll play me. Sometimes she'll play me a terrible phone recording of through the phone speaker of her playing up there. I'll be like, oh, it sounds like tin, but I get it. But but her parts, then we take them and we kind of put them into the context of the track and get very creative with sounds and textures, and especially on Column of Air, we got the textures of the guitars and just had a lot of fun with that. This whole album has been a little bit more production oriented this time around.
So when is the new album coming out?
It should be June. It should be June.
I'll talk to you again. That'll be your fifth time.
Yeah, or we'll bring Kristen on, or Rick. Or we'll mix it up, But it could be me, or maybe just Kristen.
Or you could come here and we'll do the interview in person. No.
Well, they could do that.
How far you are.
So there's another one last track, Flowers for Cynthia.
Yes.
For the new. That one's got a long history with us that nobody knows about, other than anybody that reads our Facebook feed, because we talked about it last week. That song's been around since the band started. And we were starting to play out in New Brunswick and, various places in the city and, just all around the area. We were just doing gigs, and we got onto the circuit of bands and stuff, and, bands that were kind of like us. And there's a group called the Insomniacs, who are kind of a garagey group and 60s inspired and all that. And they started to really like us. And, they just would come to the shows, and
that's cool.
They'd just be hanging around. It was just a good vibe, and young people, everybody was in their 20s and just hanging out and having fun and watching each other play and stuff. And one day, Dave Woj, the bass player, singer for the band, comes up and he says, I got a song for you guys I want you to do, because we can't do it. So he gives me a tape. And I was really knocked out by that, because we were just starting to write songs, and we're just getting a handle on what we wanted the band to be. And so here's a guy who's a songwriter who's now wants to write for the band. We were very, very, kind of, it was a compliment, to get that. So we listened to the track and we're like, how do we do this song? It's really good, but it's down here.
Yeah.
And you got to sing real. We're like, wait a minute, this isn't going to work. And we didn't have an understanding then. We were so clueless. We didn't know, like, oh, well, you just get out the capo and you can bring it up a few keys and get it into the place where it's best for your voice. We didn't think
where
like
you're
that.
Comfortable singing it.
Yeah, but we didn't think like that. We're like, no, man, this is where I wrote the song. Got to sing it there, And we didn't know. We
Yeah.
just didn't know.
Hmm.
So the song, I think we tried to do it and it was just too low and we
Yeah.
couldn't get it right. So I think it was like our first guitar player left the band. And at that point, we're like, hey, we're a new band now. And we've got Kristen and
Hmm.
all these new songs and House of Vibes. And this is where we're going. So anything that we did back then, we closed the lid on and forgot about for
Hmm.
years. So the pandemic comes along and we were going to start doing a new album, which is now this album that we're working on now. But we were trying to start it. We were getting some songs together and pulling some old songs and stuff. And then the pandemic hit and we thought this is just going to be too hard to record long distance our
Hmm.
material.
Yeah.
So we sort of went to a more comfortable position and thought, let's do this covers project we've been talking about forever. And
Hmm.
maybe that'll be like a way we can do this. We all know the songs. We got a good handle on how we could play them. And it just seemed like a better idea. So we dug into dig. We dug
Yeah.
in, which is why we called it dig, because we were dug in.
Hmm.
It's one of the reasons. But
Dig
during
Dug.
that
Wasn't that a
pandemic,
game?
everybody, what?
Dig Dug. Wasn't that a
Yeah.
that was
Oh,
a game or something?
what?
A
Yeah,
video
I think
game.
you're right. But anyway, during the pandemic, everybody had all kinds of time. So I just remember, I don't know why I thought of it, but I was like, what if that old song that Dave gave me and maybe I could do something with it. And I thought, well, now I know I could change the key because we were
Hmm.
doing that
Yeah.
all over the place for other songs now. And so I started messing around with it and I thought, well, this would be cool if I could present it to him now, all these
Hmm.
years later
Yeah.
and say, hey, look, I finally worked
Yeah.
this out. So I worked it out. I did a little phone demo and I gave it to him. And he's like, oh man, I forgot all about that song. I
Well,
said,
at
maybe,
least he remembered the song.
yeah, no, he
It
did.
was so. Yeah.
So he was real kind of, pleased about it. And I said, maybe we should record it together. We'll do it as like, Insomniacs and Gripweeds. It's
Hmm.
like, no, I gave it to you guys. I'm
Hmm.
not,
Yeah.
I'm not coming. And you got the studio. I'm like, all right. So we're doing Dig. So back on the shelf, it went again.
Hmm.
And until this album, I had done that demo and we were looking for songs. And this project has changed form a couple of times.
Yeah.
The form it's in now is it's all like kind of new songs and some older songs that nobody knows about that we brought back.
Hmm.
Um, but mostly all the new stuff. But the band, especially Kristen, was like, we got to do Flowers for Cynthia.
Yeah.
She just loved it. And so we, took it. I think we went back to my demo, but we completely rearranged it and it got really
Hmm.
very creative. Um, like,
It's got a pop sound to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just, we were kind of like, put the producer cap on and kind of go, we could be a 4-piece band, but maybe the song needs a little bit more production, to set the scene, to
Hmm.
give the whole vibe of this whole Flowers for Cynthia, this girl Cynthia that you're trying to get, and
Yeah.
the anxiety, and I don't know, I was just thinking of stuff like uh, Squeeze or The Jam,
Hmm.
and and being a little weird or kooky,
Uh-huh.
not being straight ahead rock.
Yeah.
Nah, don't worry about that this time. Let's
Hmm.
not, and then Rick pulled out. We started messing around with keyboard stuff, and we got this very weird synthesizer patch. And I was like, yeah, that's it. I want something really bizarre.
Yeah.
So we never, you would have ever done that. Gone
Hmm.
for like, we're just going to have some fun here,
Yeah.
And I think the track now, listening to it, I think it has that in it. It's got a little bit of a playfulness to it,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
you get the,
It's my favorite out of it. Not that I like all three songs, but that's my favorite out of the three.
well, that's cool.
Flowers for
Yeah, I mean, I
Cynthia.
like it a
Yeah.
lot too, and it was a real surprise for me that
Hmm.
this song from the start of the band that we didn't
Yeah.
really understand. We finally were able to work it out and make sense of it and really kind of make it work. And there again, Kristen just took off with the guitars
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
came up with all of this texture and
Hmm.
just really blown away, you know, by her work. Everybody too. I mean, Dave, like, listen to Dave's bass work on the verse. He's doing this do 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 do. Almost like it's like Bruce Foxton from the Jam, but it's like Motown. It's really cool.
Yeah,
you know. So that song has really worked out.
Yeah,
you know, and improved. This is what this EP was. It was made to be. It's called Early Clues. If anybody's out there, it was meant to be a teaser for this album, and we thought, let's get it going because we're not finished yet. See if we can get the songs out and get radio interested. So we started with radio of the finished songs that we had, which songs did they think would be the best? And these three came up as they were tested as the ones that, you know, everybody seemed to like out of, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 songs or something like that that we gave them. But we did purposely hold back some stuff that who knows, it might be better. We'll see. But this was meant to be a taster and a teaser for the new album called Soul Bender.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just talked to Courtney Hadwin the other day. She was America's Got Talent when she was like 13, 14.
Wow.
And she's putting out her first album, but she could not tell me hardly anything. They are keeping this so under wraps. Like, I think she's still working on it. Or maybe she doesn't have a title, you know. And that was like when I talked to Dax Nilsson at Cheap Trick before they put out their last album. He couldn't tell me the title. He couldn't.
Yeah, we're just. Well, we already blew the lid off it because of this teaser.
Okay.
So, you know, we put out Early Clues as songs from the upcoming album Soul Bender. And it's like, well, why
I like
not?
that name though, Soul Bender.
Yeah, it's a song.
Okay.
That I wrote actually. It's coming. I can't talk about it.
Yeah. So we have about 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
But so listeners, go to gripweeds.com where you can get all kinds of cool stuff. And like, I mean, I know this isn't video. So I do some video on YouTube, but they can't see this, but this is my well-worn.
Oh yeah.
And this is my new hat.
Hey, wow, it's refreshed.
Yeah, and
wow.
You know, when I ordered the first one years ago, I ordered 2 and I can't find the other one. And I should have ordered 2 again. So
yeah, I've got a bunch
just love that hat
around, and we use them all the time too.
And people, I think, because I'm sorry.
The thing about gripweeds.com is you're referring to the hat, and that's stuff that you can't buy anywhere else. And we do that every time we put out an album. We put out a deluxe edition that you have to go to gripweeds.com to get.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, it's not on streaming. Yeah. It's nowhere. So you have to buy it from us.
Since you can't see the hat, it's a winter hat. It's a nice light winter hat, and
good for today.
Yeah, embroidered with the logo.
The logo.
You know what I think because of the name of your band, I get people see that and they're like, Gripweeds, they think it's something to do with weed or something. I'm serious. I know. I'm like, it's a band.
No, that's all right. I used to really not, you know, well, I've never been a real drug guy, but I don't mind that reference now.
Yeah,
it's kind of trippy.
Well, it's illegal in New Jersey, so.
And it's legal. You know, even if it wasn't legal, it's trippy. It's kind of cool. Yeah. So I've never had that problem. Yeah. I mean, we got the name from John Lennon's character, as you know, but you know, but all of that stuff kind of feeds into it. So that's why I think the band name is good for us, because it encompasses, you know, if you're stoned, that's a good time to listen to music and a good headspace to be.
Oh yeah.
Unless you have a bad trip.
Yeah. But, so listeners, check out the Gripweeds. I've been a fan long time. And like I said, Kurt's been on here 4 times, so I obviously love the band. Love you guys. And
are we the most? We're not the most attended in your podcast, are we?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Oh, we are. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well, have a great afternoon.
All right, man.
Thank you, Kurt.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
She's grown more from eating with the days. I only wish that she'd see it. Oh, what should I do? Though she's here with me, she'd rather be with you. Oh, what should I do? When everything I told her was the truth. Oh, what should I do?
You've been listening to No Good Music. Today's interview was produced and edited by Rob J. Lilly and recorded via Zoom at the Did You Say
7
Studios in Washington, New Jersey. You can find No Good Music on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Pandora, and almost anywhere you listen to podcasts. Intro and exit music by the band 99%.